Today I'd like to record a little bit about President Trump's message to the people following his coronavirus. And the thing I most note is that the president wants to encourage people to get on living. He showed to us something very, very important, and that is courage. He showed to us also awareness of his own physical condition. He was asked by Mark Siegel on the Tucker Carlson show last night, what did you feel like when you decided to get to the doctor? And he said, well, I didn't feel like myself. I felt like something was wrong. I felt fatigued. I felt tired. I felt that, my body wasn't like my body normally is. And so I turned to the doctors, and they did the test. So right away, we have a very simple process that the president has pointed out to us, not amazingly difficult symptoms, just knowing your own body, being sure of how you feel, and wondering, did I work longer and harder today, or is that why I'm, and so forth and so on, and then quickly seeking medical attention so that you can be tested to see if you have the coronavirus. And secondly, Dr. Siegel asked President Trump, did you want to go to the hospital? He said, no, I really didn't want to go to the hospital, and I negotiated with the doctors, like we all would do if we didn't want to do something. And he's no different than us. But they said, no, listen, the best thing for you is to be in the hospital where there's care for you, where we can get you immediately. We don't have to transfer you in an ambulance to a different location. If you need the help, you can be moved, or the stuff can be moved to you very rapidly. And so the president said, I respect doctors. He repeated this so many times. He respects and appreciates doctors. And so he listened to his doctors, and he did what they told him to do. And then Mark Siegel asked him, did you have difficulty breathing? He said, no, I didn't have difficulty breathing, but my doctors felt that my oxygen level was low, 94, and therefore they gave me supplemental oxygen through the nose, a cannula, very, very little amount, 5 liters per hour, that would be. I have 2 nurses in my own household, folks, and they both tell me that 94 would not even get the normal person oxygen, more like 88 or 87. And so that was an excess of caution, not that the president was gasping for breath, according to my 2 nurses in my own home, but really that they were just doing that little thing on their finger, found that his blood level was a little bit, oxygen level was a bit low, and they decided to give him the supplemental oxygen. Then Dr. Siegel asked him about the medications. We've heard that on the television. We know that President Trump has already taken a precautionary, the oxyhydrochloroquine, and he also took remdesivir, and he took the IV antibodies. Those are available to people, and President Trump has promised that he will do everything in his power. And he's not powerless. He's not the most powerful person in the world. Not really. He has a lot of limitations on him. But he would do everything in his power to speed along the delivery of these medications to people so they can get them in case they need them, including hydroxychloroquine and the like. And so I found it very encouraging. And then when President Trump addressed us from the White House, we saw that he took off his mask. Well, he was entering his own home. He was not near anybody. He was, there wasn't anybody else there. And he was outside, and he was speaking into the outside air. And he had already been released from the hospital, so there was no possibility. And when he went back into the White House, he said he put the mask back on. So what's the big deal here? Do we always have to find something wrong with President Trump when he's trying to encourage us? And then he told people when he came out a few days later how well he was feeling, how well the therapeutic drugs had worked for him, how immediate they were, how successful they were. And he said, you see, we don't have to be afraid. And that reminds us of Franklin Delano Roosevelt's famous opinion when he said, we have nothing to fear but fear itself. And I am concerned that many, many people, especially seniors, are afraid. And they're afraid so much that they're closing down their lives in their final years. I'm 73 years old, folks, and I'm not about to close down my life in my final years. I don't know how many more I got. Maybe I got a day, maybe I have 5 years, maybe I have 20 years. I don't know. But I'm not closing down my life, not because of the COVID, because there's therapeutics now. We have the oxygen therapy instead of the ventilators, which is a great improvement. We have the remdesivir, we have the hydroxychloroquine, we have other drugs which are available, even Pepsid, which helps the inflammations and so on in the lungs. We know much more about this COVID. We know a lot more about this disease. We know a lot more on how to treat it. We know its workings. We know its pathways. We know what it will do to us and how fast it will do it. So we know how to treat it. And our doctors across the nation, the best doctors in the world, are very well informed about how to treat the COVID-19 patient. And so President Trump is simply saying to us, do not be afraid to live. Do not be afraid to take stock of yourself, and do not be afraid to go to the doctor. And most certainly when you get to the doctor, do what the doctor tells you. However, I would say, personally, because I have nurses in my household, and I've read quite a bit of literature, because I have a great interest in the COVID-19, is that personally, Fred, if I was Frederick Henry, if I was to be in the hospital and they offered me the ventilator, I would not take it. I think the ventilator is a dangerous machine. It does a lot to the body, causing all kinds of cascade reactions, and think of a cascading river of rapids that cannot be stopped except dammed, and once it's dammed, it piles up the dam and flows over the dam. That kind of reaction to the ventilator, in terms of the COVID at least, is not what I would want. And so I would negotiate and say, give me the oxygen therapy, give me the hydroxychloroquine, give me the remdesivir, give me what else you got, I don't care, give it all to me, but don't give me the respirator, because I don't need it, I don't want it, because it's much too dangerous. And so, I hear a lot of people, we even have this whole thing about the president taking steroids. I happen to be a victim of whooping cough as a child. I had very severe whooping cough, and I had to get a daily injection at the hospital. I was literally carried from my home to the local hospital by my dad, and I got the drugs for the whooping cough. And over the years, I developed croup as well. And when I had measles, I had very, very strong breathing reaction to measles. And so, as an adult, just recently, about 2 years ago, I came down with a recurrence of adult croup. And I was absolutely surprised. It was very distressing. I went to the hospital. They gave me the exact same steroid drug that they gave to the president with a needle, IM, intramuscular, and I got over the croup within a very few minutes, like half an hour, 30 minutes. And it lasted. It was forever, I didn't get the croup again. I can get it at any time because I'm subject to the croup. But I'm just saying, wasn't affected my mind. It didn't affect my thinking. I didn't go delirious. This is a very, very common steroid. And these people are running around as would-be doctors or make-believe doctors or pseudo-doctors or phony doctors, or whatever you want to call these people, crying foul about steroids. The same steroid is given to children with croup. A lesser dosage than mine, but it's still given to children with croup. And so it's very commonly used, as Mark Siegel on the Tucker Carlson show said, a very commonly used steroid, not to be afraid of such a thing. Take what you need to take. We have the therapeutics. We have the medications that can solve it. And we look at our president, and we should be inspired. A 73-year-old man who took stock of himself, went to the doctors, listened to what they had to say, negotiated his treatment, and went to the hospital and recovered very rapidly because he took the therapeutics. And basically, he has led a good life. He doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, and most certainly doesn't take drugs. So the president has a good personal medical habit, and he's not diabetic. He's a little bit overweight, as people have called attention to. But don't forget to yourself, when the president wears a shirt, underneath that shirt is his bulletproof vest. That's around his chest, up to his neck, around the back of his body. It covers the entire chest cavity and the back cavity, so he can't be shot in the back, he can't be shot in the chest. That's not a small thing. It's a Kevlar thing, and he wears it underneath his shirt. And so that's why he's quite big on the top, and he's probably not that big on the top when he's not wearing his bulletproof vest. Something we need to remember, folks. And so, okay, I'm not going to belabor this particular program, but I want to say that I have to travel to the airport. And that's where I'm recording this. I have business things I have to do. There's no way around it. I'm allowed to travel. I'm well within the guidelines of traveling. And I will tell you, the airports are not busy. And there's lots of people traveling. And they're not afraid. They wear their mask. They keep their distances. They do what they're supposed to do. The airports are open and functional. Some of the restaurants in the airport are open and functional. I wish all of them were open and functional. You know, as an adult, I sort of kind of get insulted that I come to the airport and so many things are closed down, and because a governor, for political reasons, in my opinion, has decided to keep these things closed until after the election. And I should have the right, just as I have the right to go traveling, just as I have the right to get on a plane, just as I have a right to go to get a coffee here, or to get a sandwich here, or to get a carry-out here, or to eat in with 6 feet apart and all their business. I don't see why the other concessions are not allowed to open. Now, maybe they don't open because there's no business and then the employees are kept out. But if we're going to recover, we have to open up the nation. We have to open up the schools. We have to open up travel again. Think, my dear friends, think of all of the cruise ships out in the ocean waiting for permission to carry on cruises. Think about all of those cruise ships, and think about the trauma done to the travel industry of all those hotels that are closed and locked down because of various Democrat governors who refuse to allow them to do what they have to do. And so, friends, I think it's important for us to remember and to be inspired and to look and see that our president is leading. He's led in the COVID, he's led in the shutdowns, and now he's leading the way to the openings. And we have to take heart that many, many industries, many, many businesses, and many, many people are anxiously acting to reopen the country again. And so as we enter the flu season, I call attention to the flu. Maybe you want to wear a mask for the flu, that's up to you. If you want to wear a mask all day long, day in and day out, that's fine. However, be careful, because I've read quite a bit of literature lately that the mask is causing an acne-like reaction in children who are wearing the mask for 8 hours a day at school, and they're not washing it or not changing the mask or not using a new mask every day, and it's causing a severe acne-like infection of the skin all around the nose and the mouth and the chin. And some of it has gone down into the neck, and it's very, very severe skin infection. So if you're going to wear a mask, wear a washed mask, wear a new mask, a paper mask, change them all the time, and don't reuse them, because that is not going to do your skin any good. Okay, I'm at the airport. Like I said, I'm doing this at the airport. It's so quiet here because there's nobody here. And there should be a lot of people here, but they're not. And I hope and pray to see a day when there's a lot more people at the airport. Although for me, it was good because I had to do this. I was required to do it. I had no choice, and I was allowed to do it because of the rules and regulations. But, you know, I got through everything, TSA and all that, really quickly. But we really need to open up our country, folks. We cannot survive this economically. And we have to tell our governors and our state legislators, it isn't the federal government that closed this down. It isn't the Trump administration that closed this down. It's the local state governors, the local mayors, and the local magistrates. And we must put pressure on them to reopen our country so that we can live again and not live in fear. Okay, that's enough now. I think I have to get on the plane pretty soon, so I'm going to close this episode of the Frederick Henry Show. I want to thank you for listening. I'm sorry, this is not a video. For listening. And you might want to check out my blog. I have a Frederick Henry blog, Frederick Henry at WordPress.com, Frederick Henry at WordPress.com. And you might want to make a comment there. I think you can if you want to click on the like or the dislike, or you want to become a follower, or you can make a comment on Frederick Henry at WordPress.com. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll be talking to you soon. Bye.